Now here we have a perfume from the brand Moseha, and this one is called Remember My Name. Now, of course, the name of the perfume captivated me immediately, and I said, I love this. It's very ambiguous, it's very abstract, I wonder what it's going to smell like. And then looking at the note breakdown and seeing that the perfumer is Olaf Larsson, and he's a wonderful perfumer. I know he's made perfumes for Navitus Parfum and many other brands. I said I want to try this one, right? There's vanilla, there's spices, there's saffron, there's ylang-ylang, there's jasmine. So it's a very complex note breakdown. And one thing that I'm going to tell you is that this is a fantastic fragrance for the fall and winter. I'm going to give you my thoughts on this fragrance in just a little while, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on Remember My Name by Moseha, I'll give you my thoughts on the smell, longevity, performance, comparisons, all that good stuff. But before I dive into the review, I do want to mention that if you're a fan of fragrance-related content, and of course, if you love smelling your best, hit subscribe, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. It would really mean a lot to me. So look at the note breakdown. So luckily, this perfume box comes with a card on the inside that delineates all of the notes. So in the top, we have rose, saffron, and freesia. In the middle, we have ylang-ylang, jasmine, sambac, violet, lily of the valley, orris, and spices. In the dry down, we have musk, leather, ambergris, animalic notes, vanilla, oud, and woody notes. Now, if you're interested in sampling this fragrance, because, of course, I don't recommend blind buys, especially when it comes to niche perfumes that are hundreds of dollars, you can get a sample at Oswald. So that's where I got my bottle from, Oswald NYC. The link is going to be down below. It is not an affiliate link, and this is not a sponsored video. I'm just trying to direct you to the appropriate place to get this one so you can trust that it's authentic, that you're getting really good service and a really high quality product as well. So this perfume with that spicy rose, that touch of woodsy vanilla that's happening in the dry down. So it did kind of remind me of another really popular fragrance. And there are a few fragrances now that seem to be employing that DNA. And ultimately, this does it in its own way, which I really admire and appreciate. But nevertheless, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the scent in just a little while. Let's start things off with a quick look at the presentation first. So right in the opening of this fragrance, you're going to get a spicy rose with a woodsy vanillic dry down. And if I didn't look at the note breakdown, I would say there's something sweet. I'm guessing it's vanilla or maybe labdanum or something. I knew there was rose and I knew there was something spicy happening in here. Now, having looked at the note breakdown, you come to realize that that spice is saffron, which is great. In a lot of perfumes, it gives them a leathery vibe, not in this one. I also realized that it just has spices, so I'm sure there's more. Maybe there's cardamom, maybe there's nutmeg. I'm not sure, maybe a touch of cinnamon as well. But I also see that in the dry down, it lists animalic notes. Now, I know a lot of oud-based perfumes, and there is oud in this one, but I know a lot of oud-based perfumes tend to be animalic. And what I was going to say is I don't think the animalic tendencies are coming from the oud. Now, I don't know if maybe it's coming from a touch of civet or castoreum or something else that's being utilized to give it that animalic promise in the dry down. But the good news is that it doesn't smell barnyardy. And I think a lot of people typically have an aversion to scents that are on the rough and tumble barnyard side of things. So the good news is that you don't have to worry about that with regard to Remember My Name. The name of this perfume seems very sensual and romantic for whatever reason. It also seems like maybe it's a confident person who wishes to be remembered for their accomplishments or their achievements. But it also seems a bit romantic, right? It seems like it kind of gives it an air of romance. Now, with this particular fragrance, all right, so I'm just going to say it kind of reminds me of Ombre Nomade by Louis Vuitton. So it gives off that Ombre Nomade vibe with that oudy, rose, saffron, sweet thing happening in here. And for a split second, I was also kind of reminded of Turath by The Spirit of Dubai. So this is why I said earlier on in the review, there are a lot of especially like a lot of Middle Eastern brands are employing that DNA, and for good reason. I think oud and a lot of these spices are really, they hail from that part of the world. So it really only makes sense that they're being utilized in a lot of these olfactive compositions. But let me tell you something, a spicy rose, a velvety vanilla in the dry down, really nice amber touch. I know it doesn't say amber, but I am getting some kind of a resinous richness in the dry down, and something that I think combines with the vanilla to sort of create and craft this amber accord that is executed so nicely. And I like that there's an appropriate amount of sweetness, right? It's never an overdose. It doesn't get too heavy on the vanilla. So this is the type of perfume you smell it and you're like, oh, it leaves you something to crave in the dry down. You smell it right in the opening, by the way. Yes, in the opening, you're going to get a lot of spices and rose, the saffron, that medley of spices. You're not going to get a whole lot of ylang-ylang, and I say that because a lot of these have a very distinct character. Ylang-ylang, freesia, narcissus. I am getting rose though. Like rose is coming across loud and clear. And as a matter of fact, it's the first note that's listed in the note breakdown, and it's listed as a top note, surprisingly, not a middle note. But you are going to get a spicy rose with a hint of vanilla and amber in the dry down. And yes, oud as well. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the oud. It's an awesome fragrance. And honestly, with it being, I don't know when I'm going to publish this video. I am shooting this video on October 23rd. Might be a while before I publish it, but I think it's fantastic for the fall and winter. So I was going to say this time of the year, absolutely ideal. And so if you're going to pick this up, make sure you do it soon. If you're going to sample it from Oswald, make sure you do it soon, because come spring and summer, you're going to want to, rely on a few other olfactive offerings, ones that are not necessarily as heavy as this one, because the performance as well is nuclear. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, well, very unique fragrance, honestly. This one, yes, it can be compared to Ombre Nomad and maybe a few other perfumes that utilize that DNA, but this one bears a certain complexity that I think the others don't. Not to suggest that the others bear linearity. I don't think that's the case at all, but I just think that this one has something else happening in here. It could be the medley of the spices. It could be the complexity of the floral ingredients that are in here. And I do believe that those other ingredients like the jasmine, the lily of the valley, the ylang-ylang, I do believe that they're in here, but I think the preponderance of the rose makes it seem more like a soliflor as opposed to a diverse floral bouquet. But there is a certain complexity about this one. Longevity, 12 plus hours. Projection, definitely beyond an arm's length for the first 2 hours of application. Versatility, fall and winter, mostly winter. Perfectly unisex, catering to an older demographic, better for formal scenarios, I would say. And as far as the presentation is concerned, I love the presentation. I'm actually not even showing you the whole thing. So there's actually an outer box, right, which you saw in the presentation segment. It has the perfumer written on the side. Definitely gives credit to the perfumer, Frederick Malle style. And then it also has this box that comes at the very top. And as you can see, there's this travel pouch. I haven't seen too many other perfume brands do this. So if you wish to travel with the bottle and you want to keep it packaged safely, you have the luxury of doing so. My final verdict on this fragrance is, it is a beautiful, spicy rose oud fragrance with a touch of vanilla, great complexity. Remember My Name by Moseha. Available at Oswald NYC. Not sponsored. I'm just trying to hook you guys up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you took something of value from today's episode. And if you did, please remember to support the channel by clicking subscribe, hitting the bell, and giving this video a thumbs up. It would really, really mean a lot to me. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch this review. It really means a lot to me. I hope you have the chance to sample it. That would make me even happier. Thank you again for watching. I love you all, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode.